in Restream. Stream started. Okay. Looking good. The OBS doesn't show up in the stream, does it? Just want to make sure if I go here, for example, and say view on YouTube, is the stream actually happening on YouTube? And it is. Great. How much of a lag do we have here? One watching now, that would be me. That would be I, who is watching. That is called a predicate nominative. I tell you what, well, we're going to bring a lot of things to the world. One of them is going to be English and grammar lessons. It was woven in there. I mean, I'm not going to bore you with it or anything, but it's important. We got to bring some things back, just like analog's making a comeback. You know what else needs to make a comeback is a decorum, sense of decorum in many, many things. I think needs to make a comeback. And also proper command of the English language. How am I? There. Is that okay? Move over my head. All right, we just got this plant put together today. Pretty excited about that. We've also got, check this out. This is gonna be something. Nice green, deep green, nice deep green velvet curtain will be hung on that wall. But at the moment, my 10-month-old, I should say my wife and my 10-month-old tiny little precious baby child sleeping on the other side of that wall, so didn't want to hang the curtain. But BUTT, what did I want to practice? I wanted to practice a little reacting. Okay? Yeah. Let's react to some of this stuff, you know? Well, Command R, Hard R, reset. The real value of LinkedIn becomes obvious after you delete it. What do you mean, Darren? Darren, creator going public. Okay, so it's good. But there's a point of ultimate. Well, the real value of LinkedIn for me was always, prospecting. I've been in tech sales for the last 8 years. And I was an international tax consultant for the 5 years before that. Hey, I love streaming. I know nobody's watching this right now, but I started a YouTube channel. Oh my God, I've got to find I go back to my first YouTube channel. Talk about fun things to react to. I mean, this is my current channel, Trevor Hanlon, Jacked and Zen. 105 subscribers. Okay, no big deal. Actually, no big deal. And I don't necessarily want to switch account, but does my old Trevor Hanlon show up? Dude, how did this one get 66 views? It's adorable. And I don't remember what it was, but oh my God. Baby Lena took her first steps like in the last couple of days. And today, like really, really took her first steps. Look at how little she was. She went in that baby. Alright, we're all over the place. Anyone can build an elite physique using only kettlebells? Probably. I mean, because what is an elite physique? I mean, you don't need a lot of muscle. You need some decent genetics, and you need to be lean and decently jacked to have what you would consider an elite physique, especially when you consider that most people, a little fluffy, a little squeezy. You're not going to need money in the future. Just focus on staying alive. Yeah, I see some of this. I replied to one of this guy's earlier tweets, and I feel that to a degree. That topical hair loss. Why would you advertise this to me like I'm worried about losing my hair or anything? I'm begging you, never quit as a founder. At zero for longer than you'll ever expect. Okay, hey, this one may be hitting home for me. I'm begging you, never quit as a founder. It's zero for longer than you'll ever expect. No momentum, soul-crushing doubts. Nobody seems to care. Been there. Even when it looks like it's working, it's not. Keep trying new things. You don't lose hope, then it snaps to 100. 0 to 100 real quick, I suppose. You find the one thing that resonates, you wake up with more customers, you didn't get lucky, you just didn't leave. That smells a lot like AI. You didn't get lucky, you just didn't leave. You find the one thing, yeah, okay, I can relate. Tough people outlast tough times. Being extremely difficult, but I will never give up. Thanks for this. Yeah, that seems to be the story. Kind of echoes, if anything can be said about Alex Hormozy, for example. I mean, he does really seem to know what he's talking about when it comes to all the businessy stuff, and a lot of what he says is like, you just gotta keep going and never quit and work hard and smart. But man, when you hear his story about oh god, now this. How do I measure and manage the degree to which I want to, keep it positive? There was a time, we're gonna go camera just on me here. There was a time where I thought my purpose in life was to be the world's best gratitude and self-love coach. I had a major I don't know, we'll call it a woo-woo phase, and I've always kind of been into personal development for most of my adult life. So I say all this to say, I've gone back and forth between like being, I wasn't a bully in high school per se, but some people could probably tell a story that I was or may have been in certain cases, but I wasn't really, all things considered. And then I got in this sort of phase where I was definitely like, oh, everything's like, it's all love. And maybe this was kind of after my first 10-day silent meditation retreat, which I would highly recommend, for example, to Blake. Oh, see, now you can't see what I'm looking at. All right, here we go. Major cheat code for life. Say less. Not every thought needs to be shared. Not every opinion needs to be voiced. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is stop talking. It's so sloppity slop, and I know, this guy didn't write this. I think he's recycling all of Sahil's old stuff, and I gotta figure out how I'm gonna focus on positive things. I want to talk about positively, because the driving force of what I want to talk about, what's the Jacked and Zen brand, so to speak, kind of all about. And it's definitely a positive thing. I want to be positive, but I also have a lot of I don't know, hot takes, harsh takes. It's just fun. I kind of denied it for myself for a while, that I would ever say anything critical about anybody. And now I think it's good to find a happy medium. But ultimately, the main thing, the main message I want to get across is are those positive aspects of, and now when I talk about gratitude and self-love, I mean, let's talk about self-love. Like the number one thing to me about engaging in self-love is getting and staying decently jacked for life. Like you gotta. I know what it's like to look in the mirror and be, say, like 50 pounds overweight. It's probably the most like kind of overweight I was in my adult life, and and I used to always be really fit, and then at one point I got like a little fluffy, a little squeezy. I remember one of my like friends basically told me I was fat at that time, and you know it landed. It hurt, but and also in a way of like, yeah, I know, like I'm being such a piece of shit right now. And then I got back in shape, and I've basically been in pretty good shape for like 15 years. And on the self-love aspect, like, dude, you've got to just get and stay decently jacked for life. Like it's so important and beneficial in so many ways, and it's also not that difficult. I mean, that's a big thing I want to bring. I don't know, more out into the world. It's what a lot of my all the TikToks that I've made so far that I was making, like when I was on paternity leave. You know, a lot of that was about just that getting and staying decently jacked is non-negotiable, and it's also not that difficult. My take is it's not difficult. You just are not and have not ever really tried to get and stay decently jacked. If you ever really tried and did, you don't need to ask, and you know what to do. It's the most common sense. Like, yeah, you need to lift weights or engage in some sort of resistance training, and you need to eat about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, and generally eat healthy whole foods, and that's it. And then you just got to be consistent. But it's so the ROI on getting and staying decently jacked, especially when so many people are not. Like this guy Blake Burge, Blake, major cheat code for life. You need to get and stay decently jacked. Like you're not right now, and it would be like the biggest, bestest thing you could probably do for yourself. And then for someone like, I don't know if that's his boss. Necessarily. So for anyone who's already decently jacked, the biggest ROI thing beyond that is multiple, but start with just the first one, of doing a proper 10-day silent meditation retreat. You know, there are these ones, they're free. It's what is it, like dhamma.org or something like that. But I've done 3 of them now, and that is the other thing to me. That's, you know, that's where the jacked and zen and brain comes from. It's like played sports all my life, got really into like fitness, nutrition, and caring about my physique, I guess, like in college, and then I've stayed decently jacked for 15 plus years. And it's awesome. It's not overrated. And then some of these guys are like, "Oh, abs are overrated. No one cares if you have a six-pack." What? Yeah, they do. And no, it's not overrated. Well, what is that? Yeah, actually having abs and a decent amount of muscle and being lean is not overrated. Not at all. Not even a little bit. It's, if anything, it's underrated. I mean, all else the same, having some kind of a physique like that is not overrated at all. And then when it comes to, you know, the major aspect of enjoying your life, I mean, it comes down to your mind. It's your experience of consciousness and the way that you relate to your life and your ability to have choice points that wouldn't otherwise exist in your life to be the kind of person or respond the way that you want to. And that is at least best, I think, achieved and earned through meditation. So someone like Blake, he needs to get and stay decently jacked. I mean, and do at least do his first 10 days silent meditation retreat, and then same thing like for Sahil. Like Sahil, I know you can write about the 69 types of wealth all day long and all this stuff and take this like tech bro approach to personal development and everything like that, but nothing comes close to the experience of actually committing, say, to like I keep coming back to this 10-day silent meditation retreat, and it needs to be 10 days, not 3 days, because the first 3 days, are rough. If you only went and did a 3-day silent retreat, you would come away being like, that was the worst thing ever. My back hurts. I'm definitely like, I might be angrier than I was when I went. You need enough time to get the full effect. So that's why these retreats are structured that way, and that they are 10 days, at least to start out. So I've done 3 different 10-day retreats, and man, it's the difference in knowing things experientially as opposed to knowing them intellectually is infinite. I mean, you can read all day, and there's a great little Dharma talk in there one night where there's this, and I'll end with this, and then it's time to go watch Beef with my wife. It's the show that we're on right now, and it's good. We're on the 2nd season. It's good. It's been tough to find something to watch that's really that engaging. Okay, so real quick story about swimology. So there's this professor who's on a boat, and he's talking to the deckhand, I guess, guy through these series of conversations, and he's like, "Do you know about geography or geology, astronomy, things like that?" And the guy on the boat is like, "Oh no sir, I don't know about this." He's like, "Oh, you're wasting your life. You don't know these things. You're not educated. You need to be learning these things. You need to know about the world and this, that, and the other thing." And then one day the guy comes into the professor's quarters, and he says, "Do you know about swimology?" And he's like, "Swimology, what are you talking about?" He's like, "Do you know how to swim?" And the guy's like, "Oh, no, I don't know how to swim. Never learned to swim." He's like, "Oh, well, looks like you wasted your whole life because the ship's sinking and you're going to have to be able to swim to go to shore, so you're just going to drown." And it's supposed to be kind of a funny little story there. That the difference in you, and even if you had, for example, read a lot of books on swimming, that story didn't really illustrate my point, did it? The point to illustrate would be that you could read about how to swim. You could read all the books and listen to other people tell you about what it's like to swim. You could learn all these things intellectually about what it's like to swim, and obviously anybody who knows how to swim knows that the difference in experientially knowing how to swim is infinitely different than only knowing about it intellectually. So that, taking that aspect to your mind and your experience of consciousness and building your focus muscle in doing something like a 10-day silent retreat is just one of the best things I think you could do. And if you're that kind of person who's like, oh, you're achieving all these other ways, you're really into your fitness and your health span, and you make a lot of money, you have a great relationship, you're married, 1 or more kids, all this stuff. So you're so into achieving on all these different levels, and then this would be probably for so many people just this giant, I guess, blind spot of, yeah, and what do you think about meditating? What do you think about training your brain to be able to feel more grateful for everything that you have in your life? I mean, what's the point of achieving so much on paper? If you have a genie standing in front of you, granting you 3 wishes, what are you going to wish for? It's probably some measure of like you're wishing for money, you're probably wishing for looks, maybe a relationship, something like that. Okay, why do you want those things? You want them, there's some implication, consciously or unconsciously, that you're going to feel a certain way when you get those things. Like, you don't want a lot of money because you think it's going to make you feel like shit. You think it's going to make you feel good to have the freedom that comes along with it, the status that comes along with it, the respect from other people that comes along with it. Like, you get, there's a huge sense of respect you get when you pull up in a nice car and you're dressed nice and you look good and you walk into, you know, a 5-star hotel and people are taking care of you. Like, that feels good on many levels. And so that feeling is ultimately what you're after. And I think that you must pursue both of those things. You must improve your life as much as reasonably possible on paper, and like objectively on paper, to be able to say, oh, I have this much money, I have this thing, look at my, you know, my health, my physique, whatever. You have those things you can actually point to on paper. And then the other giant aspect of it, that's the other 50%, is the way that you relate to yourself and your life. And training your brain through meditation, for example, is the way to do that. It is just like having to do resistance training, eat enough protein, generally eat healthy to build your body and build your physique. Meditation is this way for you to do it. And but the tricky thing is, of course, that it's hard to, you know, it's the opposite of doing something concrete to literally build your body and chisel it, whatever, by having less fat. Then this is an invisible thing. You know, you're training your brain, you're changing your experience of consciousness, and that is 100% the way to do it. So I will be harping on that for, I don't know, probably the rest of my life. And I look forward to the next, I don't know when the next 10-day silent retreat I do will be, but it won't be too long. Some point in the next couple of years. I did my first one in 2020. Boy, that was good timing. February of 2020, I did the first 10-day silent retreat. And then, you know, of course, lockdown came shortly after there in March. So it was nice to have learned at that point. I came away from that first retreat like, wow, I could really be happy just meditating in a cave for the rest of my life. And I could be happy living and working in New York in tech sales and, you know, doing all these other things and, you know, finding my wife, being married, having a baby. That stuff's all great too. All right, till next time.